as I said before, our next up is our wonderful speaker, Susan Russell. She's wonderful.
Well done. I could not have asked for any better opening in the history of openings. Oh my gosh. Because now my life as a child lying in a crib going, that makes such sense to me now. I'm so relieved if I come in. It's fun. I am so happy to finally be here among you. Because I have to tell, oh, there you are. I'm just so happy to see all of you. I see so many of my dear family and my family and new friends and my family. But this is the most extraordinary moment because farewell, you were fabulous. Au revoir. He speaks French too. I cannot help but just bring this to you. This is happening now. And there's something so fantastic about it happening now because you really have no idea what's going to happen next. And it's a great way to live. Truly, it's a great way to live. Oh, I have to do my introduction. Hello, my name is Susan Russell, and I am an actor. Before, oh, I heard, Before every public speaking engagement I do, and I do quite a few, before every academic conference presentation I do, and I do quite a few, and on the first day of every class I teach, I say, I am an actor. Because when I left a 25-year career as a professional actor all across this country, many regional theaters, Broadway, the big time, played the show and everything. And I left that 25 years and went into higher education, into academia, entered an MA, PhD program in theater studies, which is the thought behind performance. I was told by the head of my program, never, never admit to being an actor if you want to be taken seriously by the academy. The academy is the big word for the educational institution. So before every speech I give, I say, hello, I'm an actor. And the thing that an actor does is create the now. What's fascinating to me about this is that I am happening now, but whoever you are watching, this is now then. So there's only some people here, these very few fabulous people that we've all come together, that are actually truly in the theatrical moment, because that moment cannot be repeated. So the now is a moment that you are helping me to create. If you think I know what I'm going to say today, that's really not what now is about. Oh, I have a plan. As I tell my students, Leah's heard this many times, the plan's the plan as long as the plan's the plan. When the plan changes, that's the plan, but you always have to have a plan. And then the now can come in like Dionysus and shatter everything. So the one thing I got going for me is that. Now, in my course of study, Kristen can never believe this, they argue about liveness. They argue about what, and here's this is something awful has happened. Whenever I quote theorists, I tend to sound like Jimmy Stewart. And I don't know why. That happened this semester with Kristen's class. Theorists tend to go, you know, liveness doesn't exist anymore. No, you want the moon, Mary? I'll just throw that lasso around. Liveness doesn't exist anymore because of our technological understanding of the world. There is a theory, and I love theory. Oh, I have to tell you, I'm the most dangerous kind of actor because I have been extremely educated. I've been taught the language of politics. I've been taught the language of economics. I've been taught the language of social theory. I have been taught how to not only speak these languages, but how to actually pull equations from them, look at you and go, A plus B equals C. That makes me really dangerous. And those in control of those certain theories stare at me in sort of fear that I might come up with a theory that's based on something living. Excuse me. Now, you see, you can't plan that. But you have to be able to go with it and make it part of who you are. Because this is happening now. and I am a living being. Acting is a very interesting trade to be in. There it happened again. Stop eating those cupcakes back there. Being an actor in the 21st century calls into question how I actually stay in a living moment with you because you are texting, or you are on Google, or you are on something. I know, you're so busted. You're so busted. And so we as actors try to figure out how to get you to come and be with us now, even though you have all the world's knowledge. I'm creeping on you. Even though you have all the world's knowledge at your fingertips. I offer you this one moment. Access to information does not equal socialization. Now, that's what I think. You know, that's what all these old people making those noises in the back are thinking. But what we have in a generation prior to you is the sense of what it means to stand next to you. To stand next to you and touch you. Yeah, and be a part of your space, part of your world. This question of liveness. How can we stay here? How can we bring you? And she's texting again. It's fantastic.
I'm live tweeting.
That's all right. I'm live tweeting. Oh my God, I'm live tweeting. I'm live tweeting. And what's so great about live tweeting is, yeah, go ahead, tell me.
I was going to say it's my job.
I love it. It is to take the living moment and send it out into the ether in the past so that we might create the present in fear of the future. Don't know what any of that means, but I was just throwing it your way so that you might tweet that. Now, this education that I have been afforded has been the best thing that's ever happened to me, because I had a lot of emotion. I had a lot of thoughts when there was this moment. I was in Phantom of the Opera for years and years and years. And there was this moment that I was crawling up 3 stories of a mechanism on a stage called a travelator. And I pulled my skirt up in my mouth, and I'm carrying it up like this. And I'm going, I said out loud, this is no way for a 45-year-old woman to make a living. I said that out loud. And I didn't actually know what all that meant. What it was that I had questions. I had questions about what I was doing. Thank you. 10 minutes, sir. High five. We'll do that. Yes. I didn't know what I was trying to frame in a school of thought. Notice we say schools of thought. So I entered an academic program that offered me some very specific frames. And unfortunately, it also offered me a schoolgirl crush on 3 dead French theorists. Bad timing on my part, I guess. The first one is a guy named Michel de Certeau, who talks about space and place. And he explained to me who I was climbing up that travelator with my skirt in my mouth. Space is a whole lot of movement, a whole lot of undefined vectors and directions, a whole lot of ways of speed that have no borders, no definitions. But when you make a decision, when you create a definition, you assign space a place. And that definition has borders to it. And inside those borders are rules, are boundaries, are limitations, are things that you agree on. So who I was climbing that travelator was somebody spacing. And when I entered graduate school, all of a sudden this education offered me a framework so that I could create a place for my thoughts. My second schoolgirl crush was on another dead French guy named Michel Foucault, who talks about our worlds being systems of power, that everything around us is a power. This is a power. Technology is power. Andy has power. He has a lot of power because he is videoing. So he is sort of the media. So he has lots of power in our world. I have a certain amount of power because I'm going to be teaching Robert, and I teach Lee, and I have power as a professor. And the system of power that surrounds me is higher education. When you begin to start labeling systems of power, they are excruciatingly dense. Politics, race, gender, sexuality. The stoplight. The sense of all the power systems that are around us. The final guy that I absolutely fell in love with, and he's going to sound like Jimmy Stewart, is Jacques Derrida. Hang on. I know some postmodernists going out there, not Derrida. Yeah, Jacques Derrida has a bad rep. this thing of deconstruction. Deconstruction is just the act of questioning, the act of taking something, a system of power, a rule, a boundary, a limitation, and asking why or what if. That's what actors do all the time. Why? What if? So this guy, to me, created this moment in time because he says there are two futures. There is the future that you can schedule, that you can decide on, that you can program and set inside that box. And then there's a second future. And that future is called l'avenir, the future to come. And that future is only visible to you with the presence of the unexpected other, that thing that happens. Me, I'm unexpected. You may have never thought this before. I hope not. That's why they pay me the big bucks to do this talk. We haven't talked about my fee yet. So that is what changes you, is what you can't predict, is what you don't know is coming, is that person that walks in the door that is a surprise, the unexpected, and that beautiful verb, to come. So as I began looking at things like catastrophe, on a global, national, local, and personal level, catastrophe is an interesting thing because catastrophe is like Dionysus. Dionysus, one of the things that he did to the Greeks, I love the Greeks, one of the things he did to the Greeks was that he would come down into order and shatter it. And then you would have to reconstruct from the ground up. So catastrophe has this principle of how are you going to be inside it? Are you going to be a casualty or are you going to be a creator? So Dionysus shatters everything that we know, and we have had a big year of shattering. We have seen global economic systems fall apart. We have seen global political systems fall apart. We have seen national conversations of race, gender, and sexuality fall apart. We have seen local systems, our athletic program, our university, fall apart into catastrophe. And many of us, all of us, no one in this room is outside the discourse of personal catastrophe. Relationships, self-knowledge, questioning, even, why am I here? Oh, the cupcakes. You know, the sense of personal shattering. All you can do is figure out how you are going to be inside the catastrophe. You can either be a casualty of it, or you can actively create. And creativity is in the world of acting. Have you noticed that the discourse of language right now has the word actor attached to a lot of stuff? Like, oh, Jimmy Stewart was going to be a politician. Someone would say, well, tonight somebody broke into Nittany Bank and the bad actor is seen running in this footage down the, and someone like going, a bad actor. Terrorists are called bad actors. And all acting means is that you are actively involved and you are in the act of creation. Now what if you were in charge of it all? I don't know what that was, but it loosened me up a little. What if you were in charge of every act of creation in your personal sphere, in your local sphere, in your national sphere, and in your global sphere? What if the act of creating was what this is happening now was all about? What if staying in the present tense afforded you this gigantic moment of personal, political creativity? What if every moment, you and I have shared a moment since you walked in, we looked at each other, we smiled, and I went, oh, do I know you? and then I came up and spoke to you because we're creating a relationship. And that is active on my part, to know someone, to reach into a reading. We do a lot of academic readings because I want theater students to be exposed to the discourses that work in power systems to control you. That sounds like a whole lot of blah, blah, blah. What I mean is, as Judge Judy says, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. I'm smarter than that. I want actors, theater students, to hear languages of economics, of politics, of race, of gender, of sexuality, and have read things that people are saying so that you might know that a play is more than a play. An article is more than an article. A conversation is more than a conversation. It is a culture, the culture of Susan Russell, caught in the act of creating itself. You know, I stare at your fantastic faces knowing that all of you have come here in a nowness that is informed by everything. We are having a huge meeting at the School of Theater right now to talk about how we are going to reconstruct ourselves after this, the catastrophe that we are inside at Penn State. You know, there are things happening all around you. How are you going to reconstruct yourself? How are you going to make decisions that help recreate a new Penn State, a new state college, a new state high, a new life, a new relationship? What if you were running the show? You know, these are the faces of some of the young people that I worked with in a program called Body Language. And this is a program I take into middle and high schools that uses playwriting and performance to talk about social issues, to offer these faces an opportunity to speak their truth, an opportunity to come forth in their own genius and tell us what it's like to be them. What if this is an opportunity for a gigantic do-over? What if the generation behind you has some answers to questions you did not know to even ask? You know, this gigantic what if, it's the basis of performance. You know, they tell us in acting methodology to appear real in imaginary circumstances, you must place yourself in the, what if I was there? You know, what if I could be that person? The one thing that theater craft offers an audience is a moment of abject and profound empathy. It's what we do. Part of its power is because it's happening now. We're coming to you live. You know, and that's okay. That was very live and I loved it because it was Dionysus. It made me think about something else happening. There are moments that we get to share who we are. And what if all of these voices had a chance at this young age to tell us what they are thinking? How might we recreate the world underneath them? I get bored with myself. Because, oh, it's okay, Tim. Yeah, I get bored with myself because I've been talking to me for 54 years. I look fabulous, don't I? He's like going, 54, that means she was born in 57. Oh my God, she's my mother's age. I'm probably older than your mother. But what I have been afforded is the opportunity for my friends here to meet the next generation. How can we help them? Well, we can afford them the opportunity. You know, my friends tease me. I film Judge Judith Scheinlin. This is a hopeless attempt to meet you someday if you ever look at the TED Talks here at Penn State. I just want to meet you. Because this chick is about social justice. And her first book is Don't Pee on My Leg and Tell Me It's Raining. I added, I'm smarter than that. But she also has great wisdom from elders. She says the phrase, and I use this as metaphor, if you are involved in road rage incident, stay in your car and drive to the nearest authority and tell somebody. When you think about the implications of that on a personal basis, when something horrible has happened, you know, especially in the sphere where we live now and what's happening, drive to your nearest authority and tell somebody. Because the thing we do best as people, we argue, we fight, we pose, we try to be, but my gosh, we listen really well. We listen. And we do, I'm very Anne Frank, we really do all want to help. We really are good people. And you talk about a belief system for me, I believe in you. I believe in us. I believe in people. And I leave you now with my other great, I don't know, mentor, Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer. My greatest teaching lessons have come from Cesar Millan and Super Nanny. Truly! They bring everything down to its tiniest form. Now, Cesar would say to you, and that's Daddy. Daddy died last February. I was inconsolable.
Sorry.
I sent a card. Cesar says, dogs bite because they don't know what else to do. To me, metaphorically, dogs bite because they don't know what else to do. I can't help but go, what if? What if they did? And that's what he does. He rehabilitates dogs and trains people. I am fascinated. Thank you.